and that was very, very frustrating for them. I went on stage with them. Surprisingly, I got no photos of that, but they said, yeah, fuck Israel, free Palestine. And that started this sequence of events where they were like actively mining to try to figure out any kind of like thing that they had said that was prosecutable. And they found allegedly in a stage performance, allegedly Mohara holding up a Hezbollah flag, a prescribed terror organization, and so yeah, they literally fucking slapped this like ridiculous terrorism charge.
Pointed out.
For anybody going to Glastonbury, you can see us there. But most importantly,
that's Dan, by the way. He's also dope as fuck. Very cool dude. That's their manager. He also manages I think like a Irish. He manages a Irish women's soccer team that played, I think, or maybe a women's soccer team, but he played. They played with a Palestinian team as well. And also on top of that, he used to work for the UN. He is brilliant.
Kneecaps say they're the victims of a coordinated smear campaign by the British establishment.
We're not the story here.
After speaking out on Gaza. But today the prosecution said this case wasn't about the rapper's support of Palestine or his criticisms of Israel. But
even if he did support Hezbollah, how the hell do they charge him with terrorism for simple verbal support? Is there really that much restriction on speech in the UK? Yes. Yes. Literally, it is illegal.
instead centred on allegedly displaying the flag of a terrorist organisation. While the fans waiting outside made their feelings known.
Kneecap have been targeted because they stand up for the Palestinian people, and that's wrong. I stand with Kneecap. This thing about Hezbollah is a lot of nonsense.
He was allegedly wearing and chanting up Hamas, up Hezbollah, obviously a prescribed terrorist organisation. I mean, that is a crime, isn't it? There's no getting around that.
The flag was thrown on the stage for a start. He didn't come out with it.
And we'll give the final word, weirdly, to Paul Weller, a supporter of the band who we spotted outside.
You a big fan?
Yeah.
Fan of their music or their politics?
I'm for the truth.
Thank you, Mr. Weller.
Rapper Makara will next appear in court on August the 20th. Meanwhile, stopping the traffic outside with a more is more approach, Kneecap's mantra.
Amazing. Paul Weller is an absolute Chad. Europe does not have free speech. I mean, Europe does have, obviously Europe has some semblance of free speech. It's just not as, American free speech is less restrictive than European free speech, which is also slated to change in America as well. Yeah, they also demanded an Irish translator, demanding an Irish interpreter in a British court where everyone knows you speak English is so swag, and also exactly what Mo Farah did in the movie when he gets arrested for selling Molly. The case has been postponed until August 20th to allow time for legal arguments regarding the time frame in which charges were issued. An Irish interpreter is to be sourced for the next hearing.
I'm a free man!
Dude, I love Irish people. They're the fucking best. Ne yapıyorsun? Ne yapıyorsun? Ne? Ha. Eyvah. Eyvah. Peki hadi. Daha yeni yıkandı. Öp kokla. My mom is here. I'm telling her that Conor McGregor exists. Don't fucking sully the good name of Ireland by bringing up that fucking pig. Anyway, we're gonna talk obviously about Mamdani.
We're going to begin with
Mamdani closing in Cuomo's lead in New York City mayor's race, says new Marist poll. However, the poll also shows, like, I think the poll also shows there is a big gap still. It's a little concerning. It makes me a little worried. But it's good to maintain revolutionary optimism in this circumstance. Let's take a look.
the race for New York City mayor, and Zoran Mamdani is closing the gap with former Governor Andrew Cuomo for the top spot 6 days before the primary. Mamdani is now within 11 points of Cuomo in a new Marist poll, but with
That's the first round. That's the first round without ranked choice.
Voting and no one with the majority of votes, the race becomes a lot more complicated. Eyewitness News reporter NJ Birkin is live in Lower Manhattan with our lead story tonight. NJ.
Right, Liz, outside a polling place here on Greenwich Street in Lower Manhattan. You know, more than 130,000 people have voted in the election so far citywide. And as you know, Andrew Cuomo has been the front runner from the moment he entered the race. But as you said, his numbers are flat, and Mamdani has cut his lead in half.
The poll predicts that Andrew Cuomo will win, but he'll have to hold off a surging Zoran Mamdani.
We continue to be within 10 points. We continue to be on the verge of a single-digit race.
The 33-year-old socialist assemblyman from Queens is closing the gap. In a poll of likely Democratic primary voters, none of the candidates has the 50% needed to win outright. Andrew Cuomo is first with 38%, followed by Mamdani with 27%, and Comptroller Brad Lander and Council Speaker Adrian Adams each with 7%. 11% are undecided. The poll predicts that Cuomo beats Mamdani in the 7th round, 55% to 45%. Lee Miringoff conducted the poll for the Marist Institute.
Cuomo is in front, but it's not a solid, locked-in kind of number for him.
Voters were also asked whether the city's next mayor should oppose President Trump. 72% said yes, 26% preferred compromising with the administration. All of the Democratic candidates are vowing to push back. Lander with his arrest.
What New York City needs right now is a mayor, is a leader who will stand up and protect New Yorkers.
Cuomo with his TV ads.
Trump's coming for New York. Who do you think can...
I got hopium for you. Polls were wrong about Eric Adams' win by 9.5%. Turnout is nearly double from last year's with early voting numbers. The polls conducted aren't contacting Muslim voters over 45, who he's been doing hella outreach with. Most important, we need more people to knock on doors for get out the vote. Abso-fucking-lutely. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, baby. If Mamdani doesn't win, I'm not sure the American public can be saved because you can't run a race better than him. I'm going to be honest with you. Even if he wins, I don't know if the American public can be saved, but at least he's a beacon of hope. A really necessary hope. Like, allow me to put my lib cap on for a brief moment and say that even if you are a liberal right now and you're scared of socialism, scared of like the scary brown guy, you can't deny that he is exactly the momentum that the Democratic Party needs. A real fighter who is young, who is charismatic, who is going to actually routinely make a big fuss about Donald Trump. He's going to do right by his constituents. He's not going to be beholden to corporate interests. This is exactly the type of guy you need. It doesn't always have to be a fucking white dude. Okay? I know many liberals are so used to voting for the same names that they've seen over and over again, and they think that spells stability, and stability is what we need right now. But Zoran Mamdani is exactly the type of candidate that represents broad, popular ideas that you all want implemented. And while he's young, okay, his lack of experience means that he is less corrupted by the very same forces that cause you to vote for these old fucking douchebags who don't do anything for you and have calcified their support in their real corporate benefactors who only defend their real boom. This is how we figure out whether or not the delay still remains. Subscribe. Subscribe now. For $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Subscribe now. Get your subscriptions ready. Get them going. Get the gifted subs going. See wall-to-wall subscriptions. This is how we figure out if there is actually a delay or not. Okay, we're not getting that many subscriptions. Never mind. I guess the delay still remains. Starting to think this is on purpose? Yeah. Listen, this is the only way for me to figure out whether there's a delay or not. Sorry. Okay, I guess the delay is past. It's subsided. To Westerner imperialist Arab states aren't allowed to undergo their own civil rights struggles and use them as a justification to impose imperialist regional interests. Yes. But even then, their fucking solution is to do what exactly? Is to destabilize the country. You know? It's disgusting. All right. Kneecap update before we get to Zohran Mamdani, which I'm going to get to in a second. Kneecap rapper granted unconditional bail over terror charge.
From West Belfast to Westminster Magistrates Court, you know when Kneecap have arrived in scenes which make the band's mosh pits look tame. The Kneecap rapper Makara found himself centre stage, charged with a terrorism offence, accused of displaying a flag in support of Hezbollah, a prescribed terrorist organisation, at a gig last year, something he denies. Usually found giving the middle finger to the British establishment.
Get your bread set, get your bread set. We're on a mad one.
To their fans, Kneecap are the rowdy voice of republicanism and rave culture. Today, Makara left the lyrics to his lawyers, only appearing to confirm his name and address before being bailed just in time for Glastonbury. As his bandmate...
They also fucking forcibly cancelled like half of their sold out shows all around Europe, which is insane. Like actually insane. I'm seeing them in the UK because of you. Hell yeah. My boys. Clutching my pearls and crossing the street if I see these thugs walking my way. Dude, listen. They're wonderful people. They're incredible people. You rarely ever meet someone that you've never met before, that you don't really know that much about, and you just fucking click. Your worldview is so perfectly aligned. Okay. Amazing. They're fantastic. They're great lads. Love them. You've seen the movie, right? Yeah, I have. I not only saw the movie, I went and I actually live streamed their second concert at Coachella, the concert that caused all of this fucking chaos to take place. Because at their second concert at Coachella, they had a placard behind them that said, fuck Israel. and I think like fuck the USA or something. It was like, no, fuck Israel, stop the genocide, something along those lines. And disturbed by the beeper that Netanyahu gave. Trump was disturbed by the beeper that Netanyahu gave him and may have read it as a threat.
Show in front of a backdrop of files and CDs, Netanyahu said that Iran had lied to the world about its nuclear intentions when signing the 2015 deal. And just a few days later, Donald Trump withdrew the US from the agreement.
This was a horrible one-sided deal that should have never, ever been made.
Trump reimposed sanctions on Iran and assassinated their top general Qasem Soleimani in 2020. October the 7th attacks by Hamas were the deadliest on Israeli soil since the nation's founding.
I can't believe Iran will violate a deal that we tore to shreds, that it's still abided by, for the record. Here's one of the hidden parts of this that's even dumber. Iran continued abiding by the denuclearization agreement even after Trump ripped it apart. It was only after they still were collaborating with international authorities. They still had investigators come and look at the sites, and only after the Trump administration added additional sanctions on Iran, in spite of them following the fucking agreement, did they go, all right, well, fuck you then, which is yet another L, I think, for the Ayatollah, because that's probably when they should have been like, all right, this fatwa shit is, this fatwa stuff is crazy. I don't know. Oops, what am I hearing? Okay, I heard that actually we should make a nuke. God is now telling me to make a nuke. Everyone who is a bit good goes abroad to live. IR made a shithole of a country, bro. What? No. You think that there aren't fucking enough engineers? Come on.
More than 55,000 people. While the military threat from Hamas has all but been removed, Israel has weakened other
That's also, I think, part of the reason why they're like, this conversation about nuclear proliferation is stupid. Like, they know how to enrich uranium. They have nuclear facilities. And these guys are using that as a pretext to just do regime change in Iran. Just fucking make a nuke, man. Jesus Christ. Are you pro-Iran having nuclear weapons? I'm pro-Iran having sovereignty. And in this day and age, nuclear proliferation for countries that are not protected under the nuclear umbrella of the Western world, and even those countries don't have any sovereignty. They're servile. They're basically vassal states, Turkey included. But yes, if you are outside of the periphery, if you are outside of the protective banner of nuclear proliferation and enrichment of uranium is the way, it seems.
Netanyahu's government immediately retaliated, waging a war in Gaza that Palestinian officials say has killed.
I was reading about the Pakistani scientist that went to Pakistan from, I think it was in England originally, and basically fucking built a nuclear lab in the middle of a goddamn field, and was able to create nuclear proliferation for Pakistan, or no, Netherlands. Sorry, not from England, from the Netherlands. Yeah, the GOAT. Respect. Respect. Sometimes you gotta give the goats their respect that they deserve, you know? Yeah, in a cave with a bunch of scraps, like Iron Man style, low key. Fucking baller, dude. Baller shot caller. Iran needs to draft a player like him. Dude, I don't think Iran's lack of nuclear proliferation is a matter of intelligence gap. I'm serious. Like, I'm not the most knowledgeable on how this stuff happens, but Iran is a fucking very educated country. A very educated country where there are plenty of, Iranian engineers that work overseas, that work within Iran. I think they just don't want to do it. I suspect it's a foolish decision, but Is America the Soviet Union? Why the nuclear race started? America is responsible. Yes. What do you mean? Did you forget? Virtual Meal is back, asking silly questions again. Did you forget what America did? What do you think Hiroshima and Nagasaki is famous for? Robust infrastructure, then Russia. He would do an iShowSpeed style China Glaze session, but he's not an honest broker, and he wants to go ahead. Tell me that's not a gay man. Go ahead. He is the most in shape person in Missouri, also. Like that alone. I feel like I've seen Austin kiss women more convincingly than this. I've never seen someone experience so much disgust at the mere thought of kissing a woman. Josh Hawley gazing at Harrison Butker and thinking, I'd climb him like a backyard jungle gym. If my wife looked like that, I'd kiss her. He's why I buy brawny paper towels. We can co-star Yellowstone, Bunkhouse Confidential. I can make him love me with my mind.